104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 93. We actually double-checked all of our equipment today. We made sure that the camera looks good on Jay.
93 times you think we get it right.
93 times.
Once
he's gonna go the side. There we go.
Maybe at the 100-year mark, we'll get it good.
So, in full disclosure, this is not the first time we've actually had to record an episode of this again. Yesterday, I had my son Oliver in here, and I thought it would be cute, because we're talking about paternity and fertility and having kids, and he wasn't having it. He was screaming at me. I tried to bribe him. It was funny. The recording
it was funny for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then I was just looked at Jay, and I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I can't do this right now, and I'm going to go kill this kid. So now that he's with the babysitter, we're going to actually try to do this episode of Dark Side of the Stream. Episode 93 was my pick this week, and we did Our Father, the documentary on Netflix. Now, this story is about a fertility doctor in the Indianapolis area named Donald Klein, who for decades and decades and decades helped women get pregnant. And then
sounds like a good deal.
He was a religious man. He was actually an elder in the church. And if you know anything about church elders, you know that you have to be a pretty upstanding citizen to even be considered to be a church elder. You're essentially the governing body of that church. So you got to have a very clean nose when you do this.
Well, that doesn't work out well here.
No, it didn't work out for old Dr. Klein. What happened was a woman, I think she was like in her 30s or something, got a birthday gift of 23andMe, like a lot of people do, and got the results and saw that she had it was like what, 10, 15 siblings, I think.
And half siblings or something. Yeah.
She was like, what? So she started to do some detective work, and come to find out, she reaches out to these siblings, and they all had something in common. Their mothers had all visited a Dr. Donald Klein in the Indianapolis area. So she gets together and she figures out that this doctor, instead of using sperm from donors like Jay and myself, was using his own. The woman would come in, he'd go into another room, fill up a cup, come back.
That was a very ungraphic way to explain filling up a cup. I was
trying to do a really good job of like coding this without getting extremely
basically they were going in there to get sperm donors implanted in them, and he was cutting out the middleman, and he was just doing the donations himself.
Which his motive we'll get into a little bit later. Another reason why I'm glad we re-recorded this is because when we were talking about this yesterday, Jay said something.
You guys.
You don't word it that way.
I was taking out of context.
He said it in a way that
burn the tapes.
I literally, if we would have aired that, every female in this town that heard him would have killed him for saying this. Ollie actually saved Uncle Jay.
I owe you one, Ollie.
He hurt me, but he saved Uncle Jay, which is fine. But we will talk about the initial group of what it was like. It was like 8 of these siblings that finally got a chance to meet the doctor before things really went south. Next, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7.
Brian Wright saved.
104.7.
If people aren't calling and complaining, then you're not doing a good job.
Absolutely. And that's how we're coming in hot on this Dark Side of the Stream, episode 93, discussing Our Father. So back to it.
We did learn that sperm donors get paid.
We were, yes. I asked Jay yesterday, have you ever donated sperm? And your answer was?
No, not
in a clinic.
Well, that's what my answer was. Yeah, not in a clinic.
Not in a clinic.
I mean, that's good money, really.
So
right?
We did some detective work, and if in like a couple month period, you can make like $2,000. It's like 6 months. Now, granted, you have to meet a very long list of criteria. First and foremost, family medical history. They will look at you and say, "Do you have cancer?" Well, I'm out. I don't have cancer right now, but my family history does.
Same my family
Jay
history,
as well. blood issues, mental issues. I mean, they will look and say, if you've got depression, there are so many things that you look at before you can be a sperm donor that they'll cancel you out. So it's like the best of the best of the best. That's
the cream of the cream,
if you will. That's what these women and husbands in some cases are paying for. Now, again, there's another avenue, and that is the husband might have a low sperm count. In some cases, the doctor can take that and then fertilize the wife using different means to help. That was something else Dr. Donald Klein didn't do, because he was like, at first he's like, it's no more than 10. Then it was 20. That was 30. Upwards of 94 found siblings.
Yeah, in this one town, basically.
In Indianapolis, if you're dating a woman and you were part of this doctor, you got to wonder if that could be your half sister or half brother all day. That's scary as hell.
So I wondered if he was doing it to cut out the money factor. So he was basically making $300 a pop.
It wasn't that wasn't it.
But then it turned out to be a little weirder.
It is
deeper, darker.
Very, very weird.
And it involved the church, right?
Yes. A religious cult, if you will, which we'll get to in the next break. I didn't want to jump the gun just yet. I wanted to drive this home. So a lot of these women actually were looking for donors. And he only, at first, because every time he got caught, he'd lie. And he goes, no, I only did it where we just didn't have enough sperm donors or whatever. Sperm shortage. Okay, well, that doesn't make
sense.
Well, then come to find out, a lot of the times that women were expecting to get their husband's donation, and all these men had raised kids, including friends of his, thinking that they were the father. Decades later, turns to find out
this dude was the father of them all.
He did that too. Why did he do it? Well, we'll try to answer that question next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. The Well, 4.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 93, discussing our father. So, Dr. Donald Klein using his own sperm to impregnate all these women.
You're always the one with the knowledge. I have a question. How was he getting his sperm into the girls?
You didn't watch it's like
I'm asking you.
It's like basically, from what I understand, they take a syringe, they get it.
But how was he donating his portion?
Fill in the blank. Do I have to explain how this works to you?
Can you please explain
to
me
how this works? Do I have to explain this?
I'm just trying to get you to say it, Mike.
Hey, do yourself a favor. Once you get off the station's Wi-Fi and you're on your own,
Google
it. And then you can fill in the blanks there. I don't want to have to explain it to a 50-year-old man how he got it into the cup. But so he did it. And 94 suspected siblings. He's not the only infertility doctor that's done this across the country, but from at least right now, unless another one's found, he's the most prolific, upwards of 94. Now, why would someone do this, Jay? He guessed maybe he was just trying to pocket the money.
That's
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
the
money.
guy needed the money, man. It costs a lot to see an infertility doctor. A lot of money.
Yeah, it does. So.
And a lot of time. No. He is a part of what they call quiverful ideology. And that is that a certain cult of Christians believe in a Bible verse. It's like Jeremiah 1:5 or something like that you are supposed to send your children unto the earth like arrows from a quiver or something like that. Essentially, multiply yourself as much as possible so that you are pushing the word of God out into the world.
Wow.
There was also another part of this is that they may have a little bit of the Aryan nation thing going on, because if you look at all the siblings, they're all blonde hair, blue-eyed children.
Yeah.
So the woman who found this thing, she contacts him, and he at first is like, no, don't talk. I'm going to lose my marriage. I'm going to lose my blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no.
He's like, nobody needs to know.
Nobody needs to know this. I'm like, dude, if these people are possibly, having children with their half sisters and half brothers, they definitely need to know. Also, let's go back to what it takes to be an actual donor. You have to follow all these checklists. Well, guess what? Old Dr. Donald Klein had rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease, which he then passed on to all 94 of his children. How selfish of a human being could you do? He already knew he would have never passed that test. He knew he had rheumatoid
Yeah.
arthritis, but yet he continued to pass this gene on to all of these women.
Now, because this guy's biological father, could these guys, since they can't really get him on any legal grounds, could they hit him up for child support?
I don't know about that, but they definitely should hit him up for medical malpractice because
Yeah, that's what they can get you for, right?
They should.
I would think, right?
I would think. But all in all, they went to the AG. Finally, they were going to, the AG's like, look, there's no law in the books that says these women were doing anything, that he broke any law.
That's the wacky part.
Morally, yes, it was wrong. What he did was wrong. There was no consent given. Every woman felt violated. The children felt violated. The fathers who thought they were the fathers felt violated.
Ruined some families for sure, man. Like
every single person that is a victim in this story, in my opinion. But there was no law against it. Now there is. They got a law passed in Indiana from the mothers and kids in this that actually passed a law saying what he did was absolutely wrong. The only other thing that she did was contacted Netflix, contacted a reporter, and got this story out. He got kicked out of his church. He's no longer an elder, but there are still people in his community that back this guy.
Yeah, they still think he's cool.
Just blows my mind. I was going to ask you though, because when we were arguing about this yesterday, when your wording wasn't so correct, what I was going to say was, I mean, how would you feel like, 10 years down the line, you and your baby mama had to go see an infertility doctor and come to find out that doctor is the father and not you.
Man, you'd be pretty mad.
How shook would your world be?
Yeah, you'd be
all these years later, all the things that you did, the sacrifices you've made, the bond that you have with this kid.
Well, that's what it comes down to. What is the actual father and what So thankfully these fathers are still their fathers, but that's a tough hill to climb.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Hurdle to get over.
It's unbelievable. So the best I think revenge that she got against him was to get this story out here because he's still alive. And inevitably, the only thing he got charged with was obstruction of justice for lying to the AG about what he did.
It's crazy, right?
1 year suspended sentence and a $500 fine. All the families he ruined, $500 is all it costs. We'll get to our review next of this documentary, Dark Side of the Stream, on 104.7 The K. $104.7 The K, Mike the Intern. Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 93.
Hang on, I was getting ready to make a donation and you started the camera.
You wanted me to explain it. I was like, okay, Jay, I'll explain it to you. This is how we make babies.
That's a pretty good shot to get it in a little vial or a little cup, right? That's a good shot. I don't know.
No comment. All right. So yeah, all in all, I feel for these siblings. I feel for the mothers. I feel for the fathers. But at the end of the day, family is what you make it, right? We've got friends in our lives that we consider family. that we would treat his family. Blood, yes, sometimes is thicker than water, but sometimes that's not the case. And I wish them all the best. And it's a horrible situation they were put in by really an evil and scheming man who tried to make himself look like he was a godly guy. There's more than 94. I guarantee you that. So if you're ever in the Indianapolis area, you got to wonder how many brothers and sisters you're actually hanging out with. Thanks, old Dr. Klein. Keep that name out there. He's a piece of trash. All right. I would give
how many donations?
I give this one 3.5 full cups donations.
I'll go 3.5 too. It was a wacky story. It's one of those things that's just wacky.
Short and to the point. And at the end of the day, the thing about it is, I give the media a lot of grief, but the only reason this story's out there is because of a reporter.
Yeah.
The AG didn't want to touch it. Law enforcement didn't want to touch it.
Nobody wanted
One
to help.
investigative reporter in Indianapolis was the only one who was willing to run with this, and it took him like 2 to 4 years to get this thing off the ground, and she worked for him, and thank God she did her job. There are some good out there, just not a lot, but there are some good people in the media. Hopefully you think of us that way. All right, 94 is the next episode. Jay, what are we watching?
It's another churchy one. Since we're on that topic here, it's Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey, limited series, Netflix.
Yes, I can't wait to watch
more church scandals. Why not?
It's going to be a crazy story.
Bringing the heat this summer.
We're definitely bringing the heat.
104.7 The Cave, bringing the heat.
Keeping you hot in the heat.
Oh, there goes my camera. Right, I guess that show's over.
Jay's out of here. He's going to go.
I went straight down to hell.
He's going to go practice what I just taught him. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you.
We watch
documentaries,
movies,
so you don't have to.
We can't even get that
Dark
right.
Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.